All right, we're looking at advanced methods on page 50 and exercise 19. And so let's look at the key signature. So we have two flats, and this would indicate that we were playing B flat major. And so we can tell that we are in B flat, the first note's B flat, the last note's B flat. And so that helps us figure that out a little bit better. So it might even help that you go through the B flat major scale and get familiar with that before you get to this piece, because there'll be a lot of scalar patterns in here. Next, we're going to look at the time signature. We're in 2/4, and so that means 2 quarter notes per measure. We also want to look at our tempo, and so you can see that there's not a tempo marked anywhere. That means that go ahead and play it from the beginning, originally at just a really slow tempo. You really don't want to play it too fast where you're playing mistakes. Probably even set it so slow, it might be a little unbearable, but at a slow enough tempo that you are likely to get every single note right without making a mistake, or close to it. And when you do make a mistake at a certain tempo, you can also just play through that little passage or a couple notes around that place where you're having an issue. Also, we're going to look at the dynamic markings. When we look through here, there are no dynamic markings, and so I would encourage you to actually write forte right at the very beginning. You really want to have a good tone, a good sound whenever you're playing through this, especially since it's not marked. You don't really want to be playing it too soft and where you don't have a good sound or support. So go ahead and put forte in there. So looking through this piece, there's going to be a few challenges. The first one is going to be, there's lots of staccato in here, lots of different articulations. And so, again, set the tempo on your metronome really slow so that when you play through it, that you'll even get all of the accidentals, the staccatos, the slurs, the ties, all in there while you're playing through, and practice them. This is actually kind of a fun, cheery, upbeat piece here. So right from the very beginning, you'll see that there's all these staccato notes and articulation. So that's definitely going to be a challenge of this piece, and that the judges are going to be looking for, making sure that all the articulations are accurate along with the notes. And on these staccato notes, there's something that's really neat on the oboe is using the team method again. Each note that you want to play, you want to articulate saying team, team, team. What team does is it tapers the end of the note, and it really creates a nice sound. It doesn't sound harsh or cut off. Whenever you just play it more of a standard way is it just sound, the end of the note is just blocked off. So it's just instead of so the initial attack is the same, but the end of the note is tapered. So in essence, the volume is just getting a little softer. Sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but all it is just you're saying team, 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 team with your mouth like that. So here's B flat. I'm going to do team, 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 team. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to do it the standard way where it's the end of the note just kind of blocked off, and then I'm going to go back to team. So here we go. And back to team. So right at the very beginning, we're going to kind of have that team articulation in place, and continue to practice that maybe for a few minutes before you start this piece. And it's not going to be critical, but it's definitely going to help with your tone and timbre as you play through it. So I'm going to play through the first line here, and so you can really hear just the articulations and how this piece might sound. I'm going to play it a little bit slower right at the beginning, but I encourage you, if I'm still playing it faster than what you're comfortable with, go ahead and slow it down, and even set your metronome before you start to a tempo that you like. So here we go. And then right after that, it kind of repeats again. I want to point your attention to, on the very first line, measure 1, 2, 3. Very first line, measure 4. And you'll see that right there you have staccato, and then it goes back to regular tonguing. So this would be a good spot to be able to distinguish between these two. So think about, here's measure 3, so you're starting on a C. You'll be go team, 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 T, not team, but just T. So, and then really try to connect these notes while you're tonguing. So team, 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 T, 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 team, 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 team. So I'll go through it a little slower so you can hear it. Measure 3. Like that. That's an example of playing through the articulations and distinguishing between staccato and standard tonguing along with the slurs. While you're playing through this, there are passages where you're going to be needing to play fork F because the key of B flat, it's hard to go from E flat to D. And so that causes blips. So you're going to be playing a lot of fork F or left F, but probably most time it's going to be fork, even if you have a left F. An example of this will be at the very end. So if you look at the last two measures, all of this is going to be on a fork F. So the last two measures, it starts on a B flat. I want to show you my music and where I'm taking my breath marks at. So at the very beginning, you can see that I've written big. That's just reminding me to take a big breath right when I start. I marked a forte right there, and you can write a little better F than that to remind you it's a forte. And so really play out and loud, so you're not getting too much of a backup of air like you're holding your breath. And then right here, I've written an L to remind me to use the left F on my instrument. And if you don't have a left F, again, you can write F right here to show you that you want to play a fork F. Then I take a breath right there. And so if you need to, you can go ahead and pause this, and you can go ahead and mark in where I have all of my breath marks. If you look on the second line, you'll see I've also written out and in right here. There's out, so I'm going to breathe out, and I'm going to breathe in right here. And so that's going to help me not feel like I'm holding my breath. I'm going to play that for you so you can hear what it sounds like whenever I breathe out and breathe in. So this is the second line. I'm going to start 4 measures in on a B flat. And here we go. And then I'll take a breath right there too. Had a little bit of a blip there. So really paying attention to where you're breathing, and practice those in too, because you're really going to start to feel like you're out of breath whenever you're playing through this. Whenever you're playing through this piece, make sure to start at a very slow tempo and then slowly increase it as you get better. The goal of this piece isn't to play it fast, but to play it well. You want to play it at a slow enough tempo that you can get the most notes right and that your articulations are correct too. So play it very slow so that you can really focus in on both the notes and those articulations. Again, making sure that you're playing it loud with that support. Well, I think that's it, so thank you.